By now, the letter surely would have reached her lover. He would know she wasn't coming to Heiligbrücke. Not yet. Not like this. Not when she wasn't enough. She told herself she had to be more than a thief and a liar, more than a faithless servant, more than a wayward daughter, that she could make herself something more. 2 weeks before tonight, the wicked maid had said as much in her letter. 1 week, 6 days, 13 hours, and 43 minutes before tonight, she had realized she'd made a tremendous mistake. But the carriage had already left, the letter was gone, and the cold truth remained. She was not enough. And since then, she had wandered all round the Harslands, searching in vain like a mournful ghost, and learning the hard way that there are few honest trades for a thief. Tonight she'd had quite a lot to drink, for she had quite a lot to drown. It was not long before she became soused well past the point of belligerence and sallied boldly into insensibility. She had already been evicted from the nearest inn, after first scathingly denouncing the tavern minstrel's performance, then putting on her own show of how many meals she could vomit onto the stage. She had attempted to pay off the innkeeper in rubies, but the man had no use for her bits of red glass. She had threatened to bring the wrath of death and fortune down upon the town in revenge. Her godmothers, still acclimating to their daughter's newest flavor of bullshit, politely declined to visit their wrath upon the town. And so the wicked maid found herself staggering into the neighboring village well after midnight, clutching a rucksack full of rubies and looking for somewhere to lay her head. To encourage the townsfolk to open their doors to her, she was bawling the tragic ballad that she'd previously roasted the tavern minstrel for at the top of her lungs. It was not particularly effective. Like many, many things that had befallen her, what happened next was preventable to the point of being self-inflicted. Red-handed maid, red-blooded maid, red was the maid of the river, the horrible girl sang, like a cat in a territory dispute. She reached a plain wooden bridge over a brook that ran sluggish and frigid, little more than a trickle of slush this time of year. Lost was your home, lost was your love, lost was... Oh, shite, what rhymes with... The wicked maid, preoccupied as she was with her quest for one of myriad words that rhymes with river, found herself abruptly ambushed by the planks of the bridge. She was not certain how they had managed to get the drop on her, only that one moment she was maintaining a respectful and professional distance from the ground, and the next she was intimately acquainted with the wood grain. The fall knocked the wind out of her. It took a moment to register a brittle skitter-patter of something spilling over wooden planks, and by the time she did, it was far too late. Her gutted bag of rubies lay before her, only a meager blood splatter remaining on the bridge. The rest were rolling merrily over the edges of the planks. As she watched, one fell with a self-satisfied plink into the water below. For a long moment, all the wicked maid did was stare at the carnage of her fortune. She was sober enough to fathom the measure of what she'd just lost. She was drunk enough to tap into that special, booze-fueled kind of despair. So she did what any rational person would do, having cut herself off from her loved ones, failed to find gainful employ after 2 straight weeks of searching, and then drunkenly ejected most of her personal wealth into a river in the wee hours of what could generously be called the butthole of winter. She gave up. She lay face down on the dung-stained boards of the bridge and cried. She cried like a routed general. She cried like a jilted bride. She cried like a 2-year-old who has been told they cannot eat rocks. This was, admittedly, not her proudest moment, but can you blame her? I mean, you can, and you should. Saints and martyrs, I certainly do. Brace yourself. It's only going to get worse from here. When she had cried herself out, she didn't get up, not for a while. At first, she was just marinating in her own miserable failures. It's mandatory with these kinds of things. But eventually, she made a decision. The whole honest living idea was a noble goal, and maybe it would work later, somewhere else. But those rubies were her safety net, her easy way out if things went bad. She had to get them back. More critically, she had to do it without freezing to death in the river.